Reading the Soul Calibur 6 Combat Lessons, so you don't have to. Part 1. Introduction, Lessons 1 to 7. Introduction. This book is a collection of ancient manuscripts on the art of combat that were written in one of the Holy Roman Empire's great citadels. The writings were said to have been penned by practitioners of the sword, who put their illustrious master's technique to paper. Sadly, it appears that most have been lost, while others have notes adoring them made by the hands of others. The originals detail techniques designed for adepts who have already gone through practical training, so many fundamental motions go largely unmentioned. With this book being a selection of said works, a reader seeking to find information on the basic handling of weapons shall find it wanting. Given that various notes and adjustments to the manuscripts are attributable to later scholars, it is often difficult to discern the original author's intentions. However, as a window to the thoughts and philosophies of an ancient warrior heading into battle, hopefully these writings can be of use. Lesson 1. Strike first. Survival on the battlefield can be summed up thusly: attack and prevent your opponent from attacking. In other words, strike first. Even the most stalwart of warriors flinches and breaks their stance when struck, and every second they spend recoiling from an attack is a second they cannot attack you. If they can't attack you, they can't hurt you, and so forestalling your opponent is the key to survival. Skilled warriors strike quickly, unbalance their foes, and don't let up until their enemies are defeated. Before all else, you must think to yourself, how can I strike before I am struck? Firstly, and most importantly, do not swing your weapon carelessly, swing it with thought. Keep this simple mantra in your heart, stay calm in the heat of battle, and you may very well live long enough to grow into a hardened warrior. Lesson 2. Choose your distance. If history has taught us anything, is that on the battlefield, one's weapon is one's life. The world's minds have conjured up all manner of weapons, but what matters most is how each weapon allows its wielder to strike the opponent first. Consider the weapon's size and length. A larger weapon suits those who seek to slay enemies forcefully before they are upon them. Beware though, such weapons are weighty and thus slower. Smaller, lighter weapons, however, allow for fast kills at close quarters. You must discover what distance from your opponent your weapon performs best. Longer, larger weapons work well further away, whereas shorter, lighter ones serve you well at close range, providing you can evade your opponent's attacks long enough to strike. Know thyself, know thine enemy. Do all you can in the best way you can. There is no quicker way of reaching your true potential. Lesson 3. Watch your surroundings. The battlefield requires all your guile to survive. Those who enter stake their lives on winning. Gone are the concepts of good and evil. One's cause is justified by one thing and one thing alone: victory. Know your battlefield. Use everything it provides you. Victory is not simply a matter of injuring your opponent. Should you be by the waterside, unbalance your opponent and let them take a bath. Should your back be against the wall, step sideways. Let an aggressive opponent throw themselves against the mortar. Be ever aware of both your own and your opponent's positions and movements. Work with your surroundings, and they shall work with you. Such harmony can see you fell foes of far greater strength. Keep your eyes on your opponent and use your peripheral vision well. Lesson 4. Deal more damage in one blow. Strikes that scratch the surface of the skin will not be enough to slay an opponent. When one fells a tree, one must strike with all one's might. Felling an opponent is no different. However, landing a decisive blow is easier said than done. First, examine the techniques your way of fighting has to offer. For example, which are fast, and test your opponent, which are devastating but take time to perform. Speed and power do not go hand in hand. You must understand what your techniques allow you to do. Once you know this, select attacks that prevent your opponent from defending when they land. Send them into the air or prevent them from moving, then unleash your fury. When the hedgehog has revealed its soft underbelly, the fox claims its meal. You would do well to remember this. Lesson 5. Restrict your enemy's movement. Even the safest of attacks can be costly if done recklessly. They might be guarded or evaded with ease, leaving you ripe for the kill. Brand the following 5 tenets into your minds. Number 1. Restrict your enemy's movements, making it easier for you to attack. Put your opponent on the back foot with quick strikes. 2. Straight attacks can be evaded sideways, putting you in a vulnerable position. Use a horizontal attack to stop your opponent in their tracks first before unleashing them. 3. There is no value to an attack that carves through nothing but air. All your opponent has to do against attacks that barely reach is step back. Instead, utilize long-range attacks, such as charging thrusts, to limit your opponent's options. 4. A fallen opponent is a sitting duck. Use moves that knock them down, and then follow up with an attack. This is one of the quickest ways to make sure they stay down. 5. Never go for a huge strike without making sure you have your opponent under control. When you have them exactly where you want them, unleash your full power. Lesson 6. Destroy ironclad defenses. See an opponent who guards relentlessly as an opportunity to go on the offense. But what if your strikes never seem to get through their defense? Or worse, you are forced into a disadvantageous position. In that case, vary your techniques. Make your opponent think you will strike to the face, and then go low. Strikes of varied heights are more difficult to defend against. You could even throw your opponent. If they use a shield to thwart your weapon, pin them down, leaving them open to a deadly strike. Changing the rhythm of your attacks works well. The most experienced warriors keep a beat before striking, tempting their opponents into relaxing their guard before the true blow falls. The last one standing on the battlefield is not necessarily the strongest. Those of flexible mind avoid death. Change, they say, is good for the soul. It can save your life too. Lesson 7. Mind games. Brute force is not the only way to open your opponent's defenses and land a decisive blow. Battle-hardy warriors aim to break down their opponent psychologically before going for the jugular. One of the ways to do this is to goad them into attacking. Once successful, defend and then counter. For example, you can intentionally perform a strike that your opponent can defend against, tempting them into unleashing a powerful attack that leaves them open. Should your opponent get carried away and go for a head-on attack, dodge to the side and respond with a powerful blow of your own. Make the opponent think they have you in their hand, and then use their hubris against them. Even the smallest of gaps can be exploited if you see them coming. But remember that even with a psychological battle won, the actual battle is still in the balance. Veteran warriors keep all exchanges, even those they lose, in their mind, to forge new strategies. And that's it for the basic lessons. Join me next time for part 1 of the beginner lessons. Peace out.